Katie here from the Scrappy Sisters, and I am back with another Scraptember video. It is day 8 and today's prompt is rainbow. So we are joined by the wonderful Erika Breslin at California Lucky on YouTube and Instagram. She'll be linked down below. And obviously Laura is here as well because we're playing along together all month. So all of both Laura's and Erika's channels will be linked down below. So please go and check them out. Now, I am doing another layout using Paige Evans. It's mostly the whimsical collection except this paper. Now, I don't remember which collection this paper is from, so I'm sorry about that. But it's this rainbow paper. Kind of like a sunburst, sun rays. And so what I did was I cut the paper up and followed the lines of the original rays, sunbursts, whatever you like to call them. And I've just stressed along all of them with some scissors. Now, I have a whole nother sheet of that paper. The reason I've brought it out is because I'm using it as a guide with how to re-stick down all of my coloured pieces. So I've just marked that little dot in the centre of my page, and what I'm doing is I'm going around and laying out all my colours back in the exact same order as I cut them out from. So I'm just laying these down roughly, and then I will come back and stick them together. Now, this layout took me a long time to make, but I'm really happy with it, and I hope you will see why as we continue along. So I'm obviously not the first person to think of doing this with this paper. I think quite a few people have done this, and so I was just really excited. And as soon as I saw the rainbow prompt, I helped create the list, so obviously I knew the rainbow prompt was there. I remembered I had this paper in my stash, and I thought, right, we're doing it. And so I cut it up, just stressed it. I wanted to be able to see a little bit of that black cardstock poking through, but not too much of it. But I'm really happy with how this all came together. Now, I'm using wet glue to stick down the sections again, just because it gives me a little bit of wiggle room to kind of to move the paper around on my page and make sure everything's kind of going in the right area. I edited out me sticking all of that down because you didn't really need to see that, and it's a long video anyway. And then I decided that I wanted to do something a little bit different and add some stitching. So I do have a sewing machine, but I've never sewn on paper before with my sewing machine. So I decided to hand stitch. So I am just using my ruler to help me create a line, and I'm just punching some holes, and I do decide to punch out kind of different lengths of holes. So my stitching is going to be all different lengths. Then I went through my cross stitch thread, or floss as you might call it in the US, and I'm just kind of matching up the colours that can go with each of the rays or the sections. Now, I do want a different colour for each of the sections. You can't really tell once I do my stitching that they are all in different colours, but I do have a different colour for each piece of this pie. I don't know what to call it. I've called it so many different things. Wedges, sun rays, sunbursts, pies. Each of the sections will be a different colour, have a different colour thread. They're not perfect matches, but they're close enough, particularly since, it's only one line of stitching, and it's definitely close enough. And then, just to make it even harder for myself, I also decide I want to add sequins. And again, I've never stitched with sequins before, but I thought, why not try it now? So I've pulled out all my thread. I'm just finalising the last kind of colour. And then I will go back through and pull out all of my sequins and figure out some sequins that I would like to use. And also, believe it or not, I use different sequins for each section as well. You'll see what I mean once I pull them out. Sorry, I'm still faffing about trying to figure out exactly which colour is going to go where, but I get there in the end. So that's it. That's all my colours laid out. This gives you an indication of just how much cross-stitch thread I have. And it's not actually a large collection, but it's large enough. I did used to do a lot of cross-stitch when I was younger, but I haven't done cross-stitch for quite some time, even though I do still really like it. So I am pulling out my sequins. That's what's taking me a while off camera. But I'm quite excited with this idea of doing sequins. So I've got a few different things. I've got some loose sequins here that I've picked up in various ways, got in various kits and things like that. And then I've also got my Spiegelmum Scraps sequins. I don't have a lot of Spiegelmum Scraps sequins. I won they did like a spotlight. They might still do it in their Facebook page actually, where you can kind of submit a layout using Spiegelmum Scrap sequins, and if you are chosen that month, you get to create 2 layouts for them, and you're featured on their newsletter, and they send you some sequins, which was cool. So those sequins were what I got through that, which was awesome. And they are really lovely sequin mixes actually. I think if I had more disposable income than I do, I would definitely buy some more sequins from Spiegelmum Scraps. Very impressed. And Jodie seems like a very lovely person, so that's always nice. So you can see me now. Don't worry, you don't watch me stitch all of my areas, but I did want to leave one in just because I often cut this kind of part out of my process, but I thought some of you might like to see how I do it. I am just doing a straight stitch. I'm not doing a chain stitch because I do decide to stitch my sequins in with my thread, and I just thought I would just make it easy for myself. Now, I haven't zoomed in here. I probably should, just so you can get a bit more of an idea of how I attach my sequins. But the problem is I move my page all over the place, so zooming in probably wouldn't be particularly helpful. Now, I personally just add a little bit of washi to the back of my layout to kind of hold down the thread end. I could tie it in a knot, but I'm just trying to avoid any more bulk that I'm already going to have on this layout. I am well aware that washi won't last forever, so I may need to come back and kind of, re-stick down the back, just so I don't kind of have it pulling out from my layout, but I'll cross that bridge when I get to it. Now I'm adding, you can't even see because I've taken my page off the screen. This is what I mean when I'm trying to stitch on camera, but it's very tricky to do that when you really need to see what you're doing. But what I'm doing is I'm threading my sequin through my thread and including that in my stitch. And I'm actually, it's really hard to explain, but I go through it twice just so I can hold it down on both sides of the sequin, and it doesn't flip over while I'm, when I put the layout into my album. And I'm just adding a couple of sequins into each of the different sections. So some have more, some have less. Kind of depends on how many I had of the colours that I wanted. But I also just kind of tried to make it random so that it was very much a kind of every area, every section was unique. So I'm just going to finish off this one section and then I'll edit out the rest and you will get to see it finished. I actually ended up doing most of this stitching in front of the television of an evening with my partner. I only did this one little bit on camera, and the rest, I did downstairs watching TV. It's a good activity to do while you're trying to watch TV, because it's definitely, you don't need to really kind of think too much. You can sort of do 2 things at once, which is nice. It's the same thing I find when backing cut files, that I can definitely do that while I'm watching TV as well. All right, I think I'm threading in one more sequin and then I'll be done with this section, and then I will magically reappear on screen and have all of my stitching and sequins done. So as I said, I think I've said it like a million times already in this voiceover, I was really, really, really happy with how this layout turned out. It's bright, it's colourful, which is not something that I usually do to this extent, but I really like it. I really do. And actually I would do this again and put it in a frame. Sorry, that's what I was trying to say. I would definitely do this concept again and do all the stitching and add the sequins and whatnot. I would probably use a different photo, and then I would definitely frame this. It's a frame-worthy layout. Right, so my stitching is done. Here it is. You can see the sequins glittering there. All the different sections, as I said, have done kind of different length stitching, and they have a different number of sequins in different positions. And then I've pulled out this photo of myself. It's just a selfie that I've been taking while walking. There's quite a few of them, although I'm not scrapbooking all of them, I must admit. But there are quite a few. I've taken quite a few because I'm not doing a hell of a lot else at the moment. I'm working from home, as you well know. And then, just getting outside for walks. We're currently in stage oh yeah, we will still be in stage 4 restrictions when this video goes live, but they are due to finish at this point on the 13th of September. But I don't know what that will mean for us in Australia, or in Melbourne specifically, or Victoria. I think I've got, there will still be restrictions, I'm sure, for us, but I think they will start to relax them a little bit as we try and get on top of this virus. So I am layering up some of the frames that I've fussy cut from the Whimsical collection, and I'm just layering. I was going to go all the way around and sort of create a colourful border, but I actually decided to just add a couple of the frames on each side of my photo to sort of coincide with the colours that are on that side of the rainbow, so to speak. They're not exact matches because the background piece is not the Whimsical collection. And again, I can't remember which collection it's from. Sorry. Horizon maybe. But if you know, please let me know. But it is another Paige Evans collection, but I just don't remember exactly which collection it came from. But it's definitely not Whimsical. So the colours aren't a perfect match, but they are close enough. So I've popped up my photo on foam, stuck that down. I had already decided on my title. So you know, if you've been watching my channel, that I'm using up the Whimsical collection, and I'm also trying to use up these green sparkly thickers as well. And so I had the word sparkle, and I thought that I might use that on this layout. I initially wanted to use the quote, "She leaves a little sparkle wherever she goes," but I didn't have enough thickers for that. So I've just kind of abbreviated that to "leave a little sparkle." And you can probably see here I have doctored my T's. I had run out of T's, and so I think I used P's actually to make those T's. Oh, that's a mouthful. I used P's to make T's. Hopefully you can understand what I mean. I did some doctoring of my thickers. I've also, oh no, it must be a different layout. I've run out of A's as well, but I use V's for A's. There's lots you can do to make your thickers work for you so you can get the most out of them, I have found. And now what I'm doing is I've got lots of little bits and pieces from the Whimsical collection, and I'm just kind of adding them around the rainbow where they sort of fit. They're not perfect matches, but I'm definitely going with the colour kind of family. And I'm scattering these little embellishments around the rainbow, just roughly where they fit, sort of some overlapping the photo, some overlapping the different sections of colour, particularly on those embellishments that sort of maybe have two colours to them. Some of the butterflies in particular, their wings have multiple colours. So I'm just scattering, really, that's all I'm doing. And then I start to stick things down, but I edit that part out for you so you don't have to watch that. As I said, this is a longer video for me. And the process, I suppose, was definitely the first half. It was definitely a longer process, and this took me, as I said, quite a long time to make, a few days to make, with all of the stitching and whatnot. But I'm so glad I did it. I'm really happy with how it turned out. So I did stick down all those embellishments, and now I'm just coming back in and adding a few other little bits and pieces that I had on the sticker sheet and the chipboard sheet, and you can see I have got not a lot left. So I really am getting to the end of this collection. I know I've got a couple more layouts left in me because I've made a few more, but we're nearly there. We are nearly there, and I possibly think that I might get sick of it before it's quite finished, but I think I'm getting down to the point where I can probably almost put it away and split it up into other collections. There's a fair bit of 12 by 12 paper left, maybe about 6 sheets at the time of me doing this voiceover. So we'll just have to see if I can squeeze one more layout out, and we'll go from there. Now I'm just adding some of gold splatters. I was about to say the Heidi Swap Colour Shine. It's not, because I have used that up already. This is an acrylic paint mist that I'm using. If you'd like to know what it is, let me know. I will leave it in the comments. But that's what I'm using. It's an acrylic paint-based mist. And I like it. The gold is really quite prominent. You don't get that kind of halo effect that you used to get from the Heidi Swapp Colour Shine, or I did anyway, and I really like it. So there we go. Here is my layout. You're about to see a close-up. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you've enjoyed this video. Please go and check out Laura's and Erika's take on this particular topic. I loved this rainbow and I loved making this video for you guys, and we look forward to seeing you tomorrow. Have a wonderful day. Bye.